Strategic Communications was founded in 2004 as a public relations and crisis communications firm. Our founder actually came from the propane industry, and so since that time it continues. A lot of our clients are in the propane industry. We do absolutely crisis communications response when there is an incident or a crisis situation. We do crisis communications planning for organizations who want to be ready for a crisis when that does happen. We also do proactive public relations, telling good news stories so that a crisis situation isn't the first time customers, a community, or the news media hear about an organization. What we teach in our media training is that whenever the media calls or emails or shows up, you always want to take what we call the critical 10. Sometimes that's literally 10 minutes. Other times we're fortunate enough to have a few hours to develop the messages that we want to get across. We check with whatever else is going on in our organization, in the market, geographically, or in our industry, so that we're not caught off guard by any questions if the reporter knows something that we don't. We work that into our messages, write them down, which is so important to write them down and bring them with you so that you speak eloquently, you've rehearsed them, you're prepared, and you sound good and get across messages that help to keep your company's reputation as positive as possible in a sensitive or crisis situation. When an organization thinks about who their spokesperson or spokespeople might be, we want to think about not just the CEO or vice presidents who might be confident and empathetic and comfortable in front of a camera, who generally do well, but also who backups might be if the CEO or a vice president isn't available, or also regional managers if the CEO or a vice president can't get to a location where the media interview is. And then situation by situation, we want to start with the most appropriate person for the incident, and sometimes that is a regional manager or a communications director. If it's an incident that could be prolonged, and a lot of them can in the propane industry, you want to be ready to work your way up to put maybe a VP and then your CEO in front of the camera if a situation escalates or continues for days or weeks. But if you start with your CEO and that person becomes unavailable for whatever reason, you can't go back down, because if you put your CEO out in front of a situation, a pretty serious one, and it continues, the CEO becomes unavailable, and then you show your PR person on camera, it looks a little suspicious. So we tell folks, get an idea of who your spokespeople are, and remember, you can always go up, but you can't go back down. We know that crises will inevitably happen. It's not a matter of if, but when. And what I talked about today, and I've talked about for over a decade with this industry, is you want to be prepared now. Every day, be thinking about what are the risk scenarios in our company, in our market, in the industry, and be talking about that, thinking about it, and being ready for it. Because it's not just when the media calls. You're going to need to talk to your employees, you're going to need to talk to your customers, Department of Transportation, safety agencies, law enforcement, emergency responders. The same tools apply to all of those other audiences as well. So just always talking about, thinking about, and being prepared for that conversation.